Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A warm welcome to all our valued Salam Media listeners. You are tuned into our live webinar this evening, and many of us are going through the same thing. I should say mostly all of us. Tonight, you have to get together, sit down, and of course, join our live webinar because we have something really interesting to discuss with you. We're talking as 2020 draws to a close. Everyone is hoping for a better 2021. However, it depends on how well we navigate ourselves, how well we try and find ourselves and change ourselves for the better starting off in 2021. But a lot of us are in that position right now where we have so much of fear and so much of anxiety that we're actually stuck in the zone that we're in and we don't know how to move forward. So this is where we come in this evening. We're going to try and help you figure out how to plan yourself for 2021 to actually have a better year going forward from, should we say, a holistic point of view. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my guest this evening. We're going to hit it three ways for you: the spiritual way, the practical way, and of course, which other way? Another way, which is the way of mindset. And I think that's the most important one, because mindset is the way we see each other, the way we think, then the spirituality part. So I think every little aspect of it that we're going to be discussing with all three important guests this evening is going to give us a holistic view of how to change our lives for the better for 2021. And why not start now? Because we can then plan for when we start in January, we're already ready for it from a mindset point of view, a spiritual side point of view, and of course, from a practical point of view. Now, let me tell you about our three guests tonight. My first guest is Sister Rukaya Kalla. She's a successful entrepreneur and an intuitive holistic healer. She's spent 5 years, should we say years, sharpening her skills and training across the globe with some of the most prominent leaders in the personal growth field. In addition to specializing in neuro-linguistic programming, personal growth coaching, and fascia balancing, Rukaya is a certified body talk practitioner and access bars facilitator with a budding life coach for both adults and kids. Rukaya attributes her success to her ongoing dedication to studying new ideas, theories, and practices, enabling her to be at the top of her field. Rukaya models a passion-filled life to her clients. Her wish for you: live your most beautiful life every single day. Our second guest, Rooksana, Modan, a serial entrepreneur, a transformation mindset coach, executive business coach, international speaker, empowerment speaker, MC master, NLP coach, coaching for kids business, and a business broker. Rooksana's passion and purpose is to make a difference in the lives of those she meets, and trust me, she always does. She loves empowering, uplifting, and training women and youth to be the best they can be. So that's the one that's going to be giving us, of course, a lot of information on the mindset side. Rukaya is going to be giving us the spiritual version of how we can change ourselves from the inside. Abdul Manack is our third guest, inspirational speaker, a mentor, a mindset coach, CETA accredited trainer, a professional cricketer, TV and radio personality, a community activist, and humanitarian. He's passionate about making a difference and inspiring others to unleash their potential with his energy and a smile. Leaders of Today offers cutting-edge training, consulting, team building, and mindset coaching, and that is customized to provide basic skills and tools to improve performance that transforms you and your company in a positive way, and of course your personal growth as well. So let's say a warm assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all three of our guests this evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for this, I think, very important and pertinent, should we say, webinar leading us into 2021, into a better space, and of course into a better mindset, a better spiritual well-being, and of course a better practical way of looking at things when we go forward. And it's so nice to see all three of you joining me this evening. I'm so excited about this webinar. Thank you so much for taking that time out and joining us and helping me uplift and entice people into a better space into 2021.
Assalamu alaikum, Nafeesa. Jazakallah for having us on your show. I'm truly excited once again.
It's always good having you on the show. We always do segments of upliftment and mindset. And I must say, we've changed a lot of minds in many spaces and places. And we want to thank you for taking the time to join us this evening to do just that. Rukaya, it's so nice to see you on once again. We spoke so much about spiritual energy and the way we can look at healing from that point of view. And it was such an uplifting segment that day that I think I even also went home feeling better. So I think I have three of the best on the line here. Abdul, of course, had him in studio the other day talking about upliftment in many directions. And I think it got people going and thinking in so many different ways. Let's talk about 2021. We'll start with you, Rukaya, from an energy point of view. How can we start the right way? A lot of the times, and I think in a lot of spaces this time, especially this time of the year, with the COVID-19 going into a second wave, I think the anxiety levels have increased. People's way of looking at things have become different. People are a lot in a negative space because they sit down and they're holding their heads and asking themselves, where to from here? And I think that fear factor is there as well, and that anxiety, and that they need some encouragement. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely, Nafeesa. Thank you so much for having us on. So firstly, I would like to say it's extremely important to go in everything, as we know, from the best mindset. The most important thing from a holistic point of view is having faith and trust in what's come, and knowing and understanding that everything is for our higher good. So no matter what happens, no matter what ends up becoming of 2021, we know that there's a purpose and place for everything that happens. And from that perspective, I think we can go into it far more prepared for whatever happens.
Yeah, it's about having that faith and having to tap in. As you say, the word we used the last time is reconnect. And I think the word reconnect means reconnecting with your creator, reconnecting with your spiritual well-being. And I think that's the most important thing right now, because that's going to give us the direction we're looking for.
Absolutely, and recreating with our inner selves, right? Because it's important that we go back to our core and understand that the purpose of us being here is about being happy, being content with what we have, and being in the now. So the best advice I can definitely give for this point is to be present and in the now, not to be worried or to be focused on what to come, because we have no control over that. What we do have control over is the way we interpret everything, the way we perceive everything, and the way we react to everything. So it's important for our reactions to be based on the now and just take one day at a time.
From our energy point of view, and this is something that I've noticed on a general consensus, is there's a lot of negativity going around as far as energy is concerned. And of course, your negative energy affects your entire well-being because it touches on your spiritual aspect as well.
Yes, absolutely. So when it comes to an energy perspective, but from a negative, when you're sitting in a negative state and you're around other people, you're basically putting out that negative energy all around you, right? And the same way we're picking up on other people's negative energies. That's why it's really important for us to be in a positive state and always in a good mental state as well as energetic state. So if you're not feeling good and if you're feeling uncomfortable, unhappy with where you are right now, it's important to take time out for yourself and focus on that. Not to go out there and put that negative energy out to other people and speak about it and be hyper focused on the negativity. It's important to connect to people who can uplift you instead and rather help you to be able to guide you in the right direction, to release all of that negativity, to release that pent up fears and negative emotions, so that you can actually progress and grow from that. Because the thing is that we don't realize how much these the negativity affects us physically, emotionally, mentally, in every aspect. And therefore, I highly recommend that everybody reconsider the fact that how important it is to have someone to speak to have a coach, to have a healer, to have someone that you can trust and that you can help to process your emotions so that you don't bottle them up and instead affect your entire body.
Right. Rukshana, what's your take from the mindset point of view? It's very difficult. A lot of people, as speaking to Rukaya, we're saying, they're in that negative mindset right now. I think from everything they've gone through, they have their challenges as it is. And now COVID has just like literally added onto it, and it's like packed onto it quite a bit. How would they deal with it? What direction would you give them for 2021?
I think this has been a tough year for everybody. It's been so difficult. But I mean, we've been jogging people's mindsets for a full year because of this. And it's not how you react to the problem, it's how you respond. What action steps are you going to take yourself out of this fear factor? Because when you're dealing from a fear factor perspective, the mind actually goes into overdrive. So you start overreacting. And that's the problem where we actually become stressed out, burn out, where we become anxiety, insomnia kicks in, and that affects the body totally. So we need to now stop reacting. We need to start responding more positively. Yes, there's a second wave hitting. What are we going to do about it? Yes, there's more numbers increasing because it's holiday. People want to get together. People are not practicing social distancing as much as they should. So what are we going to do about it? How are we going to respond? And individually, we can choose to decide for ourselves how we're going to keep our family safe. That, yes, people keep on saying, does it make a difference if I'm one alone that's not going out to the park, that's not going out to the beaches, that's not going out to all the pleasure resorts? Yes, it makes a difference because you keeping your family safe. Don't go out to a family function. Don't go out to public places. And then you get back home and you got anxiety. There's older people in your home. There's younger kids in your home. What did you come back with? So it's about that mindset that we come back with, is to say, what am I going to do to make a difference in my life? You matter.
Right.
So start thinking on that mind.
Right. That makes sense. Abdul, from a practical point of view, a lot of the times people sit down and I think the most obvious thing we do is literally hold our heads and say, where do we start? And I think that's a question everybody's asking themselves right now. Because, I mean, it obviously is December, coming towards the end of the year. We're almost there. We literally, 2021 is literally knocking on the door. And we asking ourselves, and this is where we need your help, is where do we start from a practical point of view? Because I think everybody is stuck in a particular zone.
Absolutely. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So good to be with all of you here. I think you can fasten your seatbelts. We are ready to take off. I'm all excited. Always good to be with you, Nafeesa, Rooksana, Rukaya. Always good to connect with all of you. You start off by having the right kind of energy. It's the
right.
kind of energy that you portray.
My viewers should all be lucky tonight because we've got all three on together at the same time, giving us the best of everything. Because I literally have you guys on my show on separate segments. This evening, I think all our viewers have to just join in onto this webinar and get the best of what they can for 2021 and get prepared. And let's go ahead and hear what you have. What sort of valuable advice you have for us this evening?
Firstly, Rooksana and Rukaya spoke about, and you spoke about, it's been a tough year. And what do we do? When things go tough, when it gets dark, stars shine. And the more darker it gets, the more the stars shine. So there's people out there who use this as an opportunity. There's three things you can do whenever a situation confronts you. The first thing is to get angry, to get upset, to be upset, procrastinate, hold back, draw yourself back. And when you do that, that's the first thing, the choice you make. The choice you make is the first one. The second one is pause, stop, wait till everything passes by, and just pause and hope that it'll pass by. Or the third choice you can make is what Rooksana talked about, a mindset shift, what Rukaya spoke about, a spiritual, uplifting way of being in the now, in the present, and it's a proactive way. It's taking proactive steps. It's taking responsibility. It's taking charge. Every one of us, every morning when you wake up, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a beautiful gift, a gift of choice. You can choose to see the sun, or you can see darkness. You can choose to see day, or you can choose to see night. What are you seeing can define you. So all of us have the opportunity to make this, to take action. And what action you take can define you. So my question is, the first thing is, are you getting angry? Are you pausing? Or are you being proactive? For you to start anything, there's two words I want to start with. You could either choose day one or one day. If you say one day I will do this, you're going to wait. You're not going to be in the present and in the now. If you say day one, right now, right this moment, Why wait for 2021? Today's the day you have. Take this opportunity, interact, engage, and take the advice. So take a pen, take some notes, because I'm sure you're going to get a lot of tips. And a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. If you take that step, that action, your life will change. And I'm sure Rukaya and Rooksana will give you lots of tips, and I'll give you proactive action steps to take. So get a pen ready, take those notes, and inshallah, together we can go far and make an impact.
Inshallah, and we all try to change that mindset. That's the reason why you're all here. How do we effectively adapt to the changes? I mean, there's so many, from when COVID started, it hit us with this huge bang. And I think a lot of us were taken back by it. And we didn't learn to adapt to those changes. And I think this is what happens to people. When something hits you suddenly, it kind of takes you into another space, and then you find yourself a little bit lost, having to try to find your way. Rukaya, what is your take on it? How would you effectively adapt to the changes that are happening around us? And of course, especially now with the second wave coming, I think people are in a worse state than what they were before.
So absolutely, as Abdul said, it's about choice, right? Because we have a choice about how we wake up each morning, what we do, how we react, how we respond, how we behave. And that's definitely our choice, right? And we can choose to be happy no matter what. Happiness is a choice, and it's an internal state. It's not something that we achieve, right? And again, we have a choice on how we want to respond to this virus. Whether we want to, go out there and take, go places and do things, meet families and things, or we want to rather, take our precautions and stay inside. In the end, again, that's still boiled down to choice, because each person has the choice. As opposed to, we shouldn't be judging each other for what we're doing, because each one does what's right for themselves. So if some people decide that it's better to go out, those that have anxiety should, of course, consider staying inside, and preferably, dealing with their issues by not going out, not over interacting, and preferably just doing what's right for themselves. But by doing what's better for you and not succumbing to, the pressures of outside and the peer pressure, if you want to call it, that's where you can actually, gain most. Because by succumbing to peer pressure and things like that, you're not actually doing what's right for you. And you have to make the choices that are better for you to be able to take care of your own spirituality, your own mindset, your own emotions. And that can really help to be able to minimize the way you respond or react to things.
What sort of exercise can you do to change your energy level? A lot of times people sit there. Prayer is, of course, the most important thing, because it grounds you. It makes you reflect on what your day was like and what you could have done better. It just brings you into a good space. Besides, of course, praying every single day, what else can people do to try and just help themselves get into a better space?
So there's a really great tool I've learned along the way, and it's basically being in the question. And one of the best questions I find is, how does it get better than this? The concept of how does it get any better than this is based on whether you're in a negative space or in a positive space. Everything can always be better, right? So whatever you're going through right now, whether it be something that you're not happy with or you're happy with, and if you just keep saying, how does it get any better than this, and have trust and faith in Allah that everything will come right. I cannot stress more how important trust and faith is in Allah to really gain the best out of everything. The fact is that without that, there's no way to actually you have no salvation, right? Because you're basically aimless, right? Because you feel like you're alone, you're out there on your own, and you don't have anyone to support you. But we know better than that. When you have faith and trust in our Creator, you know better that there's more out there for you, and there's a purpose for everything. And from that point of view, I genuinely feel that that's the most important thing. The other tool I would definitely say is gratitude. Gratitude is something we need to practice from the moment we wake up. The moment we open our eyes is already a moment for gratitude. The fact that your eyes are open right now and you can see is already something to be grateful for. So it's not about the big things to be grateful for. It's about the little things. Start with the little things. And that alone will change your entire perspective of what's happening around you.
You know, I so relate to you because I had a guest on the other day on my normal show, and it makes so much of sense. And she's going through so much of ailments at the age of, I think she's now in her early 20s, but this started when she was like 5 years old. And this stuck to me because she said to me, I asked her, what is it that gets you through every single day? Because you're going through so much and you're so young. And she said to me, the little things bring me joy. So I think that's where we need to start, is make shukr for every little thing that we have and start changing our mindsets that way. Rukshana, how would you say people should adapt to the things that are happening around us? There's major changes, major differences from where we were in, living this normal life. And now suddenly we're into this, they call it the new normal. How would we adapt and deal with that particular issue? Because I think I myself found it so difficult initially to be able to, remember that you need this mask and then there's the sanitizer and you need to get used to it and adapt to all those things. But besides that, I think it had affected loads of mindsets and anxiety, because in the workspaces as well, people were affected and the adaptation was huge.
Nafeesa, I think we've discussed these on some of the shows that you've asked me to speak about, but I'd go into it just on a generalization. In these kind of times that there's so much of fear, unknown, people don't know, must I take a vaccine, is there a vaccine, is there a cure? Everybody's got fake news, real news. There's so much going on. I think they just need to breathe, center themselves, and ask themselves, what is happening in my life? Has my job been affected? Are my children affected? And what am I going to do about it? So if you follow a proper steps of what is happening, yes, there's a pandemic happening. What do I need to do to keep my family safe? Why do I need to keep them safe? Either you've got a low immune system in your family, there's older people in your family, there's a sickness in your family, and that's why you will do extra precaution. When? At all times. It's got to become a habit. Yes, the other day I walked into the shopping mall and I was looking at everybody. That why are they all staring at me? I was the only one that forgot to wear a mask. It was on my hand. I wore it like a little handbag. And I was like, what's wrong with everybody? So the thing is, it's got to, when we talk about the growth mindset of how to have an open mind about what is happening right now, this is not a choice factor. This pandemic has come about in our lives because we have no choice. This has hit our entire globe. The whole world is suffering from this. So we need to ask ourselves, what am I going to do to make my life better? How is this affecting me? And what am I going to do about it? Because when you go into those modes, you actually become into that action. What action am I going to take now? What am I going to do? How am I going to school my kids next year? Many parents are saying, should I send my kids back to school next year or not? Right? So you need to ask yourself, are you capable of teaching your kids at home on homeschooling? It's going to become a reality. And then working. Are you adapting to the new information age that we're coming about with? I mean, I never did Zoom sessions for a long time. It was only on my international clients. Now, if you want a one-on-one session, it's going to take you forever to get that appointment, because I prefer to do my clients via Zoom. It's safer for my clients, safer for me. I don't know who they're coming into contact. I don't know if I'm going to make them contaminated, if I'm going to bring them into danger. So we need to all start thinking about ourselves. When you're on a plane and that plane's about to go down, the first thing they say is put your own mask on. And right now, we as human beings on this planet need to say, what am I going to do to keep me safe? What am I going to do to keep my family safe? What am I going to do to start earning money? What am I going to do to start educating my kids? How am I going to motivate my children to want to study with a computer without somebody being physically here? So we need to start jogging ourselves into that direction. Are we innovating? There's a lot of things that we've started studying that's going to become obsolete within 2 to 3 years. Jobs are going to be replaced with more tech, because you need more kind of tech right now to educate yourself, to work, to correspond, to speak, right? So we need to go into that major shift and say, listen, you guys, sit down with your families, sit down with your family, go and find a coach, go and find somebody to say, listen here, I am not coping with this. Guide me, take me into that shift, help me make that mental shift. That's vital for all of us going to.
That is so true. It makes a lot of sense. Abdul, from your side, from a practical point of view, there's lots of changes and adaptations that need to be made. Obviously, and as we were saying, Rukshana, Rukaya, everybody's doing this online thing, which never happened before. There was always this one-on-one, and I think everybody's so used to, including myself in the studio, I'm so used to having my guests in there on a one-on-one or a one-on-three. And now suddenly we're going into the StreamYards and the onlines and things like that. And I think for parents as well, and children, I think it affected everybody, because suddenly there was this big bang boom of something completely different to what we had before.
Absolutely, it's different. So what do we do? It's simple, and Rukaya has mentioned it, Rooksana has mentioned it. You have to be adaptable. You have to be adjustable. You have to be flexible, creative, and you must embrace change. Faith has two halves, sabr and shukr. When anything happens, Rukshana talked about gratitude. You show shukr. You say thank you, because be grateful of what you have, not what you don't have. Make sabr of the circumstances, the situation, because someone is worse off than you. Someone is in a more difficult situation than you. Someone is more challenged than you. So look, what you see, what you focus on will expand. And the questions you ask yourself is critical. So the first thing, if you ask me, what would I do? Is you need to evaluate yourself. See where you are on a scale 0 to 10. Today, wherever you are, ask yourself, where am I? If 10 means I am at my peak, and 5 means I'm halfway. Ask yourself first, you evaluate yourself, know where you are. When you know where you are, you can then say, okay, I'm going to start stepping upward and forward. So firstly, evaluate yourself. Immediately after you evaluate yourself, acceptance. Accept the current situation. Know that it is here. This is the reality. This is the truth. When you accept, there's two questions you can ask yourself then. What can I do? Or what what I cannot do? What you can't do. You can't predict the time of the vaccine. You can't predict the end of the lockdown. You can't predict certain things. Those are things that are real and realistic. What can you do? Yes, you can adjust. Yes, you can be flexible. Yes, you can have Zoom conversations. Yes, you can pick up the phone, contact people. When you start taking action and you ask yourself, what can you do? You can start learning. You can start improving. You can start doing hobbies. You can't travel. So embrace that, accept that. And when the situation comes, you adjust. So the key here is, for me, is acceptance on what you can do and what you can't do. If you have to wear a mask, that is what you can do. So you have to make a decision. So wherever you are listening, ask yourself the first question: what can I do now? What can I do this moment to change my life? And when you take that, then you evaluate yourself. And then if it's serving you, if it's helping you, if it's taking you to the next level, do more of that. Do more of that.
Right.
So what you can, and that is the key. Say yes to the things that serve you and no to the things that don't.
Right. And I think we can also just go ahead by planning ourselves, creating a planner and saying, these are the types of things that we can do going forward. So start planning ourselves ahead and say, these are my ambitions and goals for 2021. Irrespective of COVID, we're going to take that into account and plan around that. So of course, what we had in mind before has changed to what we're going to have to do going forward into 2021 from the way we're going to plan. And I mean, as Rukaya was saying, Allah is the best of planners, but we of course also can't just sit there in a mundane spot and say, oh, we're just going to wait for something better to happen. We've got to obviously sit and evaluate ourselves and ask ourselves how we can move forward with this. And I'm sure you'd agree with me with that.
Absolutely. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. Every day you have an opportunity to take a step.
So we think everybody needs to write one sentence every single day, literally. Every single day, and write one thing that you would like to do that's going to make something different. And I've learned this from all three of you, by the way. So I think I'm eating it back here. Is start with, as you're saying, one step meaning ask yourself, what is the most important thing in your life that you would like to change going forward into 2021? Of course, taking COVID-19 into account, that's not something that we can, that's a fact that's there and we cannot elude that fact. But how would you, Rukaya, motivate people to actually move themselves forward? And besides prayer, from an energy point of view, a spiritual point of view, how would you get them to say, you know what, I am going to take this first step? Sometimes you find yourself losing direction in life, and a small little thing may change that. So what advice would you give us there?
So first of all, although I love the goal perspective and having goals, I think it's important for 2021 to set realistic goals and realistic expectations, so
Exactly.
that you're not consistently disappointing yourself, right? And the only way you can disappoint yourself is if you focus too much on the expectation and the outcome. But if you, as Abdul said, being flexible is very important. Going with the flow. Being able to be flexible is so important, especially for the coming year, in our goals as well. So setting baby steps is important, and the little goals. Like you actually said something interesting, because you mentioned something about doing like the little goals and writing them down. What's interesting is setting daily goals, little things. Like today, I'd really like to eat ice cream. I'd like to do this. I'd like to do that. I'd like to do that. Tiny things, right? And at the end of the day, sitting back down and saying, oh, today I got to eat the ice cream I wanted to eat. I got to go to the mall and pick up what I needed to do. Those are things that we can also count as, minor goals, which are also achievements for the day, right? And then also logging down at the end of the day what you were grateful for the day, for whatever you achieved in the day, for the little things that happened, for the little things that came, from your family, your kids, your husband, all those kind of things. And then, as you said, aside from prayer, of course, which is something that's the most important, aside from that, it's important to take stock of yourself. Like often we tend to blame others and blame everything and circumstances for where we are. It's important to also look inside ourselves and see how we could have done things differently, how we can change in order to create change for ourselves as well. And it's important to, I would say, take the time to meditate, to contemplate on those things and see how you can improve yourself so that you can be better for those around you as well and for yourself.
That makes sense. Rooksana, what is your take on motivation? And I mean, that's your key, just like the rest of them. But I think it's important for us to get up in the morning and motivate ourselves in some way, because especially now, people are getting up in a negative mode instead of a positive one, because they're getting up and saying, oh dear, COVID's here, there's a second wave, I don't know what to do with myself today. And literally, there is something it's a general consensus. It's happening around all of us, each one of us, I think including myself. There's times where you get up and you feel so challenged and you ask yourself, how do I motivate myself for the day to actually get over this?
Yes. So the most important thing, and most of my clients, I take them through this in a December time. This is a normal practice and I've continued with it, but we've just tweaked it a little bit, the program that I do. And this is vital for every single person. There's something called a mind map, and you can do your own personal one. The mind map is, what am I going to do now with my life? You need to start planning. Exactly this. Am I a family person? How am I going to school my kids? And then take down the actions. Are they going to be homeschooled? How? How am I going to incorporate my time? So what you're starting to do is do a proper plan, an action plan. So it's good to have fear in your mind, but rather put it down on paper and say, okay, if my child's going to be homeschooled, I've got to give her at least 2 to 3 hours a day of my time. How am I going to incorporate that? And then the house needs to be cleaned, because I'm also stuck in my home. I'm working remotely. So start working on, how am I going to accomplish the tasks that I need to accomplish? The dads that have to stay at home, well, now they're going back out to work, coming home, and the fear factor is, am I going to make my family sick? Okay, so start thinking about the vision. What do I want to accomplish for 2021? Yes, many people didn't earn enough money. Yes, people got into debt 2020. The mindset shift we're making now is, What am I going to do now to overcome all these things? Yes, we can all nag about it. We can write books about it. We can all talk stories, and we can all just have a good sing along about it. It's not going to help you, right? But you need to take an action step is, what am I going to do now? A mind map is something that takes you into, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? When am I going to do it? Do I need to be able to delegate this? Can somebody else do this task for me? Because I'm going to take one step up and do something more important. And that's very important. I've had a family come to me, and the dad said to me, he says, I'm a magician. And I was like, oh my God, that's the first name I've heard. I'm normally wow coach, super coach, amazing coach. But magician, I was like, I just explained to me why. He says, after my full family alignment we've done, my boy is sweeping. My boy is washing dishes. He's doing clothing. He says, what did you send me back home? And I was like, my boys do it. I take it for granted. You understand? Right. It's something that we've done. I want to make my children ready for when they leave home, when they're studying, when they're schooling. And now parents are finding that it's more difficult. There's no nanny in the home anymore. The domestic workers are not coming on time to work because of the problems we're experiencing, right? So you need to make that shift and say, can everybody participate in this family? How do we motivate each other? And yes, you are right. There's days that everybody wakes up in the morning and they're like, God, I don't want to face this day. I don't want to get out of bed. It's so much easier because there's somebody's going to send me some negative email or some negative WhatsApp. Don't open messages if they're going to be dragging you down. Don't forward those kind of messages because you don't know the mental state somebody is in. And just give yourself self-loving. There's some days you're going to write down 10 tasks to do. You're only going to do 5. And you know what? Pat yourself on the back. Those 5 things that you've accomplished is your accomplishment. Give yourself gratitude and say, I'm truly grateful that I got 5 things done today, because had you sit in that bed, not put that foot out of your bed and just decided to say, I'm going to be depressed for the day, you wouldn't have accomplished 5. So sometimes go easy on yourself. It's okay if you're not okay, but you got to reach out to somebody when you're not okay. I've got support people in my life. Abdul's an amazing mentor. When I'm a go-to person, I need somebody to just be tough on me. He's more the Mr. Jump around, let's get active kind of a guy. And I like that, right? Because you need that somebody to give you that extra push, that extra goal in life.
Because Abdul is sitting here so very seriously. He is not even smiling for that fact.
No, I'm here.
We're just checking because she did something very phenomenal there. I see you're a go-to person, the double checker is the I think, Rukaya, you left out of this, so I think I need to make you my double checker now.
So we all need that.
I don't think Rukaya got that.
Might be, Rukaya might actually be my next go-to person.
Definitely.
Rukaya, okay, there we go. So I think I'm in the lucky space, and our viewers are in the lucky space this evening because they're literally getting all of you. So I'm hoping that our Al listeners, I'm so grateful to have them this evening on the line as well, and they're joining us to get inspired of what we give on our show during the week between 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And this is 1, 2, and 3. We're talking 3 of the best around here. So let's go to Abdul and talk about how to motivate ourselves going forward. Because I know I told you the other day that there's times where, I think a lot of people think that because we're in the spaces we're in, that we're also not suffering from these challenges. And I think a lot of the times that gets overlooked, and people don't understand that we actually support each other. That's what happens. And that's how we get through it.
You're talking about support each other. The key is, here's an opportunity. There's just a little time before the new year starts, and we're talking about a new year. The first step is feedback for feed forward. You need feedback. You need to interact with people that you know. We all have friends. We all have people we can reach out to. Get feedback. How did I do? How did you see me? And when you get feedback, you can get feed forward. The first way is asking people. The second way is taking time out. Take time out for yourself. Take a day out. Say no to the world, say no to cell phones, say no to everything, and say, this is my day. I'm going to, Rooksana talks about a mind map. Today is the day where I'm going to do my mind map. I'm going to sit down and assess, what did I do well? What didn't I do well? What worked for me? What didn't work for me? What are the things that gives me energy? What are the things that second me, bringing me down? And then say no. The key is say no to the world that is destroying you. Say no to people that are hurting you. Say no to job opportunities that is setting you and draining you. Say no to your body language when you wake up in the morning and you feel down and out. Say yes to you. Say yes to a better life. Say yes to opportunity. Say yes to waking up in the morning and showing gratitude. When you say yes to the things that you should say, to the things that change you and impact you, your life will change. So my beloved listeners, my team here, I got 3 roses here and I'm the thorn here. Be the flower that blows. Be a flower. Be like honey. Be like. Let me give you an analogy, and a beautiful analogy. Honey will go to the most beautiful roses. It will pollinate on those roses. It will grasp the best of it. But you take a fly, a same sort of insect, which will, go to places where it's dirty, where it finds negative places and things like that. So make your choices. Be like a flower. Be like one that radiates honey. And you can only do that by saying no to all the things that you know in your life that are destroying you, and find the things that are impactful and positive for your life. So if you do that, your life will change. When you say no to the world and say yes to yourself, you then have self-importance. You build your self-esteem. You build yourself. You have greater, and you won't have, Rukaya talked about expectations. You won't have expectations because you know who you are and you know where you're going. So that's my thoughts on saying no. And I think that's important, saying yes to yourself and no to others that are destroying you.
That's so true. So that came from the buzzy bee. He says, "Go for the honey, and don't forget to."
Yeah, I say go for the honey and be the bee.
We're trying to make all our Untitled listeners, as well as Johannesburg listeners, all the listeners around South Africa, joining us this evening into a better space. And the reason we're making this so lighthearted is because we want you all to know that we are your support structure here for this evening. We are here to entice you into a better space and make you understand that you're not alone. And I think each one of us is suffering, and we think that we're in this confined space when actually we're not. We're actually there to uplift each other. And this is what we do on the show time and again, is always talk about uplifting each other and creating these support structures. And I think this is what COVID-19, from the positive point of view, has taught us, is to literally try and create the spinal cord for each other to be able to support each other, which we have never gotten the time to do in our previous, should we say, before this new normal, in inverted commas. Rukaya, what's your take on that?
Sure.
Absolutely. It's important to realize that we have a support system, but it's also important for us to not judge each other based on what we're going through, because each one has their own journey, their own, disappointments and their own challenges, right? So we need to be able to be there, support each other without judgment, and be able to uplift each other and be able to help each other grow. And I think that the more we realize how one we are, the oneness of us, the more we can expand on that, and the more we can trust and count on each other and grow together as one.
Rooksana, I know you believe in that support structure a lot when we spoke so many times along on the shows that we've had previously. And I think that's imperative. I think people need to understand that they're not alone. And there are certain things like we were talking about earlier where you have to, of course, do that solo for your own betterment and your own upliftment. And if you're in a better space, then you will be able to reach out to others then and then create better spaces for them. And that's what it is. It's literally like a little domino effect of positivity going around.
100%.
I think, the reason I resonate with you, and whenever you call and you need to be like, Rooks, do you want to be on my show? I'm like, yes. I never think, I don't ever hesitate. I'm like, yes, I do it. And the reason I love the relationship we have is because we learned to collaborate. We learn to complement each other. We learn to be the support for each other. We've never competed. We don't criticize. We actually sit there as a sisterhood of support. And I mean, we say sisterhood, but like you said, Abdul, the busy bee, I like that one. I'm not going to forget that one because the support structure is important. You have to have that go-to person. And sometimes you've got to change your goalpost. A lot of people are sitting and saying, but my plan was this, my plan was this. And then they get stuck in that mode. Listen, change the goalpost. It's okay that 2020 wasn't a good year. It's okay that 2020 you didn't pay off your debts. It's okay that 2020 you didn't get that promotion. But you know what? We've come through it together. We've come through it, and sometimes just give somebody that extra attaboy. Sometimes just give somebody, you know what, way to go. I mean, Nafeesa, for yourself, I'll give you that shout out. For me, it was truly inspirational. In the time when COVID hit, you were on the phone and you're like, Rooks, we need to do something for our people. And, you know, at that particular time, I was like, what difference could I make? I truly felt the impact. I had calls. I had people phoning me, texting me, just because of the show that you put together where we were inspiring people. And people were like, I'm really scared. I'm getting messages. And I was like, stop the messages. And people were like, you made a difference on the show. Parents were texting, if you remember, people were texting us to say what a difference it is, because we didn't know what to do with our kids. We were panicking. I mean, the one person wrote in and they told me how amazing it was when I said, if you're missing your friends, you're missing socializing, use the Zoom session. I mean, I would do this with my son in China. We have dinner every Saturday together via Zoom. He cooks, we cook, we eat together, but we're just not in with each other. And it's such an amazing time. We've played a board game on Zoom. It was so much fun. They still cheated via Zoom.
That's such a nice way of actually connecting, but not realizing that you don't have to be in the same space in order to connect. And I think this is what we're talking about, adaptation and motivation. Abdul, your take on this, because I think you have a lot to tell us, but we don't have too much time, but we want to hear from you. Of course, from that point of view, creating the support structures. And I think it's important, because besides being solo and connecting with your Allah, your creator, who's going to make such a difference in your life, because, you know, as they say, whenever you're in your worst spot, just go straight into sajda and go right on the ground and ask your Allah for whatever you want. But there are, I mean, us human beings interacting, of course, are so used to that type of norm where we need that support structure from somebody that we could trust.
You know, when you talk about trust, and to me, it is that. You know, you talked about going into the ground. Your whispers from the floor are heard in the sky. You know, go down. I think that's the best support structure, firstly. You know, be sure, Almighty says in the Quran, you will be tested with your health, with your wealth. You will be tested with fruits that you toil for. You will be tested. But know that after every difficulty, there will be ease. So as much as you know that these things are there, these are the words of our Creator, the Most High, the Most Merciful. Know that there will be an opportunity. So know that after difficulties there will be ease. So when you pray, have hope, have belief, have that faith in yourself. So when you look firstly at the support structure to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord, the Most High, and then also, you know that who are your friends. People like, you know, you can have mentors, you can have coaches, people that you trust, people that you can reach out to. Like, you know, Rooksana reached out to Nafeesa, you reached out to Rooksana in certain ways during COVID, and you will interact with people. People are looking for a way out. They're looking for hope. They're looking for someone to reach out. Be a light. You know, light that candle and let that light shine wherever you go. You know, be like a tree that bears fruit, that not only gives people fruit, but also gives people shade. When you are that, you know, be one who can make an impact, make a difference. There's people who need help. You know, I pray to Almighty Allah that as long as we are alive, keep using us to serve someone. The day we are not used, the day we can't be like this in an interaction like this to help people, it concerns me, because now He's not using us. Let us be those that we can make an impact. So to me, the best support, and that's my personal thought, is go into the ground. Your whispers in the ground are heard in the skies. And you know what? There's no better way of solace, no better way of peace, no better way of contentment. And when you get that peace, you know, it's total surrender, submission. And then you know that you go through that. And that's the best action anyone can take.
You put yourself in a better space than what you were before. And it's so nice sometimes, you know, like the other day I tapped into Rukaya, and it was such an amazing segment, because she was like the first time with me on the show. And the type of energy and the direction she gave me was like, I resonated with the rest of you when I chat to you. So it was like, it was such a nice, fresh vibe. And as Rooksana always says, the vibe of the tribe. And I think she's joined our vibe of the tribe by giving us her own valuable pieces of advice. And when I spoke to her personally after that, and then I just got enticed into a better space. So Rukaya, I think
That's amazing.
you're becoming a part of the STEM should we say, of these branches that we're putting together to be able to create support structures for people out there. And I think all three of you are doing such phenomenal things. Just sitting with
Thank
you on
you.
my show alone makes such a difference to myself and the team. When we listen to it, we walk out of here in a better space, and we call this our happy space. So it goes to show that these support structures do, of course, make huge differences, but of course with loads of sincerity attached to it. What messages would you like to leave our viewers with this evening, Rukaya? We seem to be running out of time. This is such a phenomenal discussion. I was hoping that we could have another whole hour to get through this, but unfortunately we don't. So give us a quick message that you'd like to leave our viewers with this evening that you think is pertinent for them to go away with. Especially, we want to also thank our Al Ansar listeners this evening for giving us the time and the space to allow us to be able to uplift them and change them into a better space and give them some advice going forward into 2021.
So first of all, absolutely be flexible. Have faith and trust that everything is for your highest good. And then also know that you always give your best. And if your best means that right now you just feel like you need to sit and do nothing, that's also your best. If your best means that right now your kids feel like they're too busy and you just feel like you can't deal right now, it's okay to just chill and let them do what they need to do to feel good and for you to be able to feel peaceful. Just allow yourself to go with that flow and know that it's okay. It's okay to just be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true, because I think a lot of the times we start losing our identity at some point. And I'm glad you brought that up, because we start focusing on other things besides we ourselves, and everything starts with us. So I love that message. Thank you. Rukshana, what would you like to leave our viewers with?
The one thing I'd like to leave you is, this is a saying that I've adopted this past 2 months, and I'd like to share it with our listeners. Patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. And it was from Napoleon Hill. And right now, we just need to be patient. We need to be persistent on our own goals within ourselves, within those that we can support and help, and those that are needy right now. There's many families that are battling, that don't have, for sharing from what we have, loving and caring for each other, igniting the light in homes that are dark right now. That is what our purpose should be. Choose to be the water in life. Just flow around the obstacles that are coming our way. And if we choose, let's stay away from being the rocks where we grind on each other. Life is hard as it is. We do not need to make it harder for anybody else. So let's just choose love, light, and lots of laughter, and lots of learning.
I think you taught me the laughter one, and that does make a difference. Abdul, on your side, what message would you like to leave us?
Rukshana talked about darkness. 2020 has been a dark year, but stars shine in the darkness. You can be a star. So shine. And how can you shine? Shine with 3 words, which I'll leave you with: best, test, and rest. Firstly, always, wherever you are, Rukaya talked about giving your best. Give your best. Be your excellent self. When you give your best, there's nothing more you could do. I try, and then seize the next opportunity. Kapradim, seize that moment. The next word is test. As much as you give your best, life will test you. But Almighty says, after every difficulty, there will be ease. So go through that test. Pass that test, and you will pass that test. We all have passed that test. We are all here today, breathing alive, showing gratitude. And the last word is rest. Do not rest. Keep going. 2021 is on your doorstep. And Rukaya talked about Allah is the best of planners. Leave the rest to Him. And, trust Him. Have faith in Him, and you will succeed. That is my final message to everyone else.
You guys are so amazing, and thank you so much for being our spinal cords this evening. You've definitely enticed us in many directions to be able to, of course, reflect, retrospect, and reconnect. Those are my 3 words that I love to use.
Nice.
It's definitely, I'm hoping that our Al Ansar listeners this evening have been enticed into a better space, including all our other listeners. All our Salam Media listeners are so valued. We really appreciate the fact that they tap into us and allow us to change them into better spaces. But I want to read something out to all 3 of you that I read that I really thought was amazing. And it was actually written by somebody that we don't take so seriously, but really meant something serious. And it was Charlie Chaplin. And Charlie Chaplin was the type of person we always look at and laugh. And you were talking about laughter. But he wrote something so amazing. And he said, the most lost day in life is the day we don't laugh. 6 best doctors in the world is the sun, rest, exercise, diet, self-respect, and friends. Stick to them at all stages of your life and enjoy a healthy life. If you see the moon, you will see the beauty of God. If you see the sun, you will see the power of God. And if you see a mirror, you will see God's best creation. So believe it.
True.
We are all
So
tourists.
true.
Ameen.
God is our travel agent who has already identified our routes, bookings, and destinations. Trust Him and enjoy life. Life is just a journey. Therefore, live today, tomorrow may not be. And I think that is so apt for today's
Definitely.
lesson. The lesson learned is that I think we all need to stick together, create that Ubuntu that South Africans believe in, and change our lives for the better. And going forward into 2021, we spoke about overcoming our fears, taking it a day at a time is what matters. So I want to thank each one of you for taking the time and effort out to join us on this most splendid webinar. For me, I don't think it was enough. I think we still got to have a lot more to go through, but I'm hoping we can tap into it sooner in the new year to entice our Johannesburg, South Africa, Al-Ansar listeners, everybody into a better space to be able to give them a chance to, of course, retrospect on their lives and change it for nothing but the better. But of course, as you were saying, it's starting one day at a time. So thank you so much for joining me on this day to be able to help others to start on a new day on a better foot and a better mindset and, of course, a better spiritual side. So Jazakallah so much to all of you. Loads of love. Lots of safety, lots of
Jazakallah for having us.
happiness, lots of joy,
Shukran.
and we wish you all nothing but the best for the way going forward. And my du'as are with all of you. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Shukran.
I was with you. Jazakallah.
Love you guys loads. Okay, and that was our three guests, definitely enticing us into a better space. And as I read that message from Charlie Chaplin, all we're saying is from myself and the Salam Media team, you're not alone out there. We're there to support you. We're there to uplift you and, of course, change your perspective and try and get you into a better space for 2021 and help you see that, there is, of course, some form of light out there behind that dark, as Abdul spoke about the shining stars, and we're going to help you through that. But thank you so much for joining me, especially to our Al-Ansar listeners. You've given me that chance to, of course, uplift you during this space, and I absolutely loved every moment of it. I'm hoping that it enticed every single one of our listeners to be able to go there and give them the gumption to be able to move forward in a better, positive space. From myself and the Salam Media team, we wish you nothing but the best going forward. We're hoping that you have a positive, uplifting, lovely 2021 going forward. From myself and the team, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.